All right, boys and girls, here we are live from Studio Central, North Carolina. We are doing reveal number 522. This is a 1988 Philadelphia original bank wrapped roll. Gonna go ahead and get it open and get started. I've got 3 reveals that I am going to work on doing today prior to the auction this evening, which will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Time today. So, one after the other, boom, 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 gonna knock these out. See if we can't get some great goodies for people. Hello, Robert, Mr. Adams. Good day to both of you. Let's see what I can pull out of here. Got my dog comfortably sleeping in the chair. We had to go get a allergy shot today for the dog. Yes, we have a dog who only likes raw beef, and he is allergic to grass. So we have one of the most spoiled dogs on the planet Earth. Alright, we've got the roll out. We've got all the coins sitting out ready to go. We are ready to go into the scope. And so, off we are. Carl gets the first coin. And the first coin is, how come I don't have... This is kind of weird. There we go. For some reason, I had no video. That's odd. Okay, there's Cap Morgan. We are complete now. We have a 1988 with a bunch of die scratches running through the date, so let's see if we have anything else on this. I have never seen any coins or any of the coins from this lot of rolls. So this one coin is the first 88 plane I've seen in quite a while. Look on the reverse here, see what we can see. We're going to be going through checking the reverses on at least the first 10 coins. Excuse me. Hi. And yes, the pollen has me. That's for sure. Okay, nothing on this one. I mean to sneeze in your ear or anything here. Going to be a quite involving reveal tonight. I mean, reveal auction coming up tonight. Be a big one. All right, here we go for Frosty. Frostbite, let's see what you got. Well, it is a different die. And this one, as it appears, has a small die scratch below, actually a pair of die scratches below the 9 of the date. So we'll be able to use that to find any future instances of this particular die. Okay, I got nothing else on that obverse. And in checking the reverse, one of the things that we look at is the initials. We look for that big triangular serif off the bottom of the G. That would make it a transitional coin using the 1989 reverse. Would make it quite valuable, but we haven't seen that yet here. Coin 3, Mr. Worley. Mr. Worley now picks up. Yeah, it looks like a normal 88 so far. Some die scratches up above the date area out in the field. Let me get this lighting angled a little better. There. That'd be a little easier to see if there's any doubling on this coin. Alright. Got the obverse done. Let's take a look at the reverse. It is not a transitional coin. And no hub doubling either. And number 4. Now for Doug. Another different die. And, well, we have nothing there. One now to the reverse. Not a transitional. Nothing on the reverse that I can see. So we're moving on now. Coin number 5. Mr. Patillo. Well, if we do find something, it's going to be something nice. That's for sure. 1988 is really only known for having a couple of double die obverses. I don't know of any double die reverses. It wouldn't surprise me if there are some known. I just don't know about them, because not a lot of people even look through 1988 or 1988 Philadelphia. I'm sorry. 1988 Philadelphia is what we're looking at. Nothing on the reverse or the obverse there for Chuck Patillo. Yes, 1988 does have a doubled ear variety. There's only a few of them known, very short number of them known. They are extremely strong, stronger than the 1984, and extremely valuable as well. Extremely meaning 4 digits valuable. Now, if you ever happen to get really confused about the transitional reverse, take the reverse of any 1989, 1990, 1991 Lincoln Cent and study it very carefully next to a 1987 or 88, and you will see that there are a number of differences. You don't have to use the initials. The initials, the serif on the corner of the G was just one of the more obvious differences between them that people use. There are a number of different obverses and reverses. I don't remember seeing the obverse of this coin at all. Okay, that matches die 1 there. That matches the first die out of the roll. Figure we have to start getting repeats at some point. Six coins, 6 different dies that I saw. Here's number 8 for Parvis. And okay, we've got the same one that we've seen earlier, a little bit earlier, with the die scratches north of the date. I have to start up on my Zyrtec. Yeah, something going on out there that's affecting my schnoz, my sinuses. Okay, got nothing there. Number 9 now. Number 9 for Taco John. Do have some nice looking coins, even though they have a few molecular spots on them. They're not spotted so badly that it makes the coin look bad. Only if you're looking like under 100x like we are. I'm looking for any notching on the corners. I'm looking for any extra thickness at the bottom edges or the rim edge of these letters. I'm looking for steps. I'm looking for doubling in general near the center of the design. On the obverse, I'm looking for doubling in the date especially. And then checking the E pluribus unum and the ear. That's primarily what I'm looking at on these. Just any of the stuff that I would expect to need to check on any coin in the late 80s. This should be, yeah. This is the one with the little die scratch down from the 9. It's not as strong as it was on the other coin, but it's there. And I tell you guys a lot of times about having dual lighting or having more than one light source. I have that right now, and I probably shouldn't. If you'll notice, I turn my light on, and you can see that there's this extra line of light right there, right there, and right there. I have a light on my desk, and that light is more or less pointed toward the coin, and it should not be. So if I take this and kind of make that effect a little stronger, you can see every bit of what I'm talking about, and it looks almost like you've got doubling on the letter right there. Well, if I turn that light off, that doubling immediately goes away. And that is the effect of having dual sources of lighting. Now, sometimes you say, well, I don't have dual sources of lighting. There's not multiple sources of lighting going on here. Well, if you're using one of those dyno scopes or one of those little, any one of those little electronic scopes that has the light way down close to the coin, you've got the effect of ring lighting, which is essentially multiple source lighting. Most of those have a ring of LEDs down close to the surface so that you'll light up all the surfaces of a bumblebee's butt or something, whatever you're trying to get a picture of. And on a lot of microscopic things, that's kind of a cool effect. On coins, it is horrible, which is why I don't recommend any of the small electronic microscopes for looking at coins. I know a lot of people are against me on that simply because those are cheap, and they're trying to say that I am an elitist, and I try to keep people away from having fun and all this stuff because I don't want them getting $30 microscopes and trying to use them to take pictures of coins. The realist in me says, poppycock, none of that is true. The reason I try to keep people away from using the little electronic microscopes is because those little electronic microscopes put a lot of things in your brain that are actually not on the coin and confuse you. You've heard it. That's the source. The horse's mouth, direct. Using the cheap little, some of them aren't cheap, some of them are hundreds of dollars, but using the little electronic microscopes that have non-controlled lighting out the bottom of them, that is usually LED, it is usually daylight lighting, it is usually very harsh and is not diffused at all, is indeed very bad for anyone trying to learn how to view coins under a microscope, because your lighting is crap. Scope might be fine. Multiple, what am I trying to say? The magnification, the pixels, number of pixels, all that good stuff. All that could be perfectly fine on any scope, even the $20, $30 ones. But the lighting is where you get caught. And the lighting is where you have problems. Even the lighting that I'm using on my microscope, it would be horrible if I didn't have control over it. Having control is 99% of the solution. Even the type of light doesn't really matter. It's control over how the light shines on the coin. I mean, oh, look at that. Big old nice die crack. Bam, that's pretty. From the N over across to the left on the N, a little die chip on the N, a little crack from the N to the E, and a second crack to the N to the E. It looks like lightning. E to the C, and the C down to a die chip in the middle of the C all the way down to the rim. And it goes to the rim on the left side of the N, so that could very well be the beginning of what was going to turn into a cud. Well, that's kind of pretty. That could mean that this particular die pair didn't live very long after this. That's all I got to say about that. That's right. there's nothing wrong with using a scope, especially if you use it properly. And the way I've got it set up here, it works really, really well because I have my scope looking at the coins, and then I've got the computer looking through the camera of the scope so that I can see this on my screen as I'm going through, and it's very, very good. You guys are seeing on the left side of your screen exactly what I'm seeing because I'm just doing a display capture, and my display capture is simply capturing what I'm looking at on my other monitor. So you guys are seeing the exact same picture I'm seeing. A little bit of a die clash there in bay 8, 9, bay 8. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is where the statue is. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are on the other side. 11 bays, 12 columns. So bay number 8 is 2 over from the statue to the right. Now, without having a hefty amount of control over my lighting, the lighting that I use would not be good. Here, I'll show you why. If I take my little, I'm going to call it my light hood, off of my scope, this is what I get. I get a lot of very direct, very harsh light. Now I'm going to put my hood back on, my lampshade, and my lampshade makes the lighting more or less professional. That I can get all the way down to the very close level and still have decent control over being able to see die scratches and other things like that. And so we'll flip this coin over and take a look at the obverse. That's usually what we're interested in seeing first. There it is. So with the lampshade that I made out of a coin tube, it's a milky coin tube. I made that little lampshade, and it makes it really easy to be able to control the amount of lighting that you see while I'm going through this. I also have my software set up with exposure times, so I can change the exposure times. I can change the amount of gain that you see, the amount of recapture of light that the microscope has. It also has an exposure, an auto exposure target. I can change the saturation, how much color is seen, or how little color is seen. There's a lot of things I can change with this software that came with my microscope. And that's camera. It's all camera software. Oh, Jim. Oh, that was coin number 16. That goes to Parvis. Sorry about that. I didn't get that one. Get that one flipped. I'm more worried about what was under the scope than I was about what was showing up here. Our next one goes to Josie Fletcher. Mr. Jim's granddaughter, let's see what she gets. I guess we're almost up to coin number 20. We haven't seen anything on the reverses yet other than that one die crack. Nice little grouping of die cracks. I've got to catch which obverse that belongs to. It's not this one. Alright, that's coin number 17. Now coin number 18 goes back to Parvis. Back to Parvis. Back to reality. What do we see? Folks, don't forget that we've got a couple of other reveals coming up directly after this one. Then after that, we'll be moving right on into the auction. It appears as though we're probably going to have a good hour break between the final reveal and the auction. Get you guys a chance to get your meals in, your drinks in, whatever you need to do, and get yourselves ready for the auction. But I hope to see everybody there. It's going to be a nice auction tonight. It's not just pennies. We got pennies. We got other things too. Nickels, dimes, quarters, We got a lot of good stuff. Nice little die crack on the building there. And that's coin number 18. Now coin number 19 comes along. Malcolm. See what we can see from Malcolm. It's got nothing on the date. Nothing on the eye. Looks like nothing on the obverse. Got ourselves a marker there of a nice die scratch under the Y. Is this the one that has all the chips and breaks and stuff on the reverse? I guess not. I guess not. Not a transitional reverse, not a double die reverse. Looks like we're going to move on to the next coin. That one was for Malcolm. Now coin number 20 goes to Coins and Ghouls. See what Adam gets. Got no doubling there. Looks like this could possibly turn into a more or less dud roll, which it's not highly unexpected for 1988. 1988, you got some good stuff, but you don't just find it in every roll. It doesn't work that way. Don't have anything here either. But you can't win without playing. And this could have turned into a superstar roll, because you never know. 1988. I think Dennis, that would hold true, and you would only have to go back to the 1970s. 1970s, a lot of people knew about just a couple of double dies, and it's only because those were very obvious that anybody really cared. If you go into the world of die varieties in the 1960s and the late 60s, let's say from 67 through, 1974. 67 through 74, a man by the name of Frank Spadone, probably Spadone, I'm not really sure the pronunciation of his name, wrote a book and kept it updated with editions that was all about the oddities and anomalies found on U.S. coins. And the section on pennies talked about D over L and S over S and D over C and stuff like that. Lincoln cents that were oddities. It was oddities and varieties is what he called these. And there was actually some value assigned to the buy errors and the die varieties, such as RPMs and double dies and things like that. But he had a whole lot of other things. Missing initials, comic coins, coins with specific die cracks or die chips or die markers of other kinds. And he kind of wrote it as a fun book of collecting and didn't really write it with any market in mind. However, that's how they viewed them back then. Back in the 70s and 80s, most of the things that we look for now and really chase after were just considered oddity coins. And they weren't really put up on the market as anything of value. Generally, you would go to a dealer at a show and ask them, do you have any oddity coins? Oh, yeah, I've got this. They'd break out a little stock book and show you a little stock book that had 20 or 30 of them in there, including greasers and off-center struck and other things like that. And then they might have an RPM or a double die stuck in there. Maybe one of the more obvious ones like 60D number 1 or a 56D number 1. You could get them for $1, $2. But that's the way most of good gosh, that's the way most of the oddity coins went back in those days. The true quote-unquote error coins were the 3-leg buffaloes, the 22 no-D pennies, the 18 over 17 quarters and nickels, the ones that people had really seen as being something of great value and a great possession to own. Almost everything else was considered more or less kids' play, toys, nothing of any real value. And so probably 95% of what we look for today falls in that category, where today there is a market value for them. Today there is a great forensic understanding of them. Back in those days, nobody really cared that much. If you couldn't see it with your naked eye, it didn't make any difference. And to some degree, a lot of the Europeans are still that way. I was in Germany, 35 years ago, but it still happens to this day, where you go to a coin dealer in Germany and you show them a really nice double die. You hand them a loop to look at it, and they're like, oh, well, if it requires a loop, it's not worth looking at. And I did that with a couple of coins that are now considered nice, true rarities by some. One of them was a 1988 German 2-mark coin. Had huge doubling on it. Really nice Class 1 doubling. Most of your coin dealers in Germany didn't care at all. And another one I had was a 1-mark coin, but I don't remember what year it was. I think it was 86 or 87. I keep looking at this one because I think it could possibly be a minor double die. I'm looking and looking and looking for anything that can really make this stand out as a double die, and I'm not seeing it, but I do see some mild extra thickness. Is that the 16/16 nickel? 1916 double die nickel? I remember seeing pictures of those, and I looked for them. That was back in the day. I was 21, 22 years old, and I was still buying bags of no-date buffaloes for $3 a roll, looking through them, nickedating them, then looking through them for the scarcities and rarities. I had a couple of 13S Type 2s that came out of nickedating. 13S Type 2 was the mound type buffalo, and it was a difficult one to get for San Francisco. Oh, calling it miscut? I've heard all kinds of things. Misstamps, miscuts, double stamps, double struck. A lot of different things that people call double dies that they are not. Yet they don't really understand the minting process well enough to be able to describe exactly what did happen. This is, I'm going to say back then, probably 80-90% of dealers. Today, probably 60-70% of all dealers still don't understand, know, or care to understand the finer points of minting coins to the extent that they understand exactly what happened and why. All right, number 27. Back to Carl again. Back to Carl. We got nothing here on the obverse. I flip it over and take a look at the reverse and see if we've got those cracks. Yes, I believe this could be the same die, only a different... No, it's not the same die. This has got a crack on the T. The other one did not. This is a different die. Doesn't have as many cracks on it, and they're not as deep. There's also one on the bottom of the right side, the right base of the memorial. A lot of die cracks on these. Sometimes. And sometimes not. Number 28 here, Coins and Ghouls. Back to Coins and Ghouls. Let's take a check here real quick of the obverse to see if we have anything there. Not found anything on the obverse yet of any of these coins. Okay, a little scope of the reverse shows us that we don't have the die cracks and we don't have an obvious double die. Going to move on to coin number 29 now. Once again, Carl. Let's see what we get for Carl this time. Yeah, I've got nothing on the obverse. Wait a minute. Yeah, nothing on the obverse. Yeah, the three-legged buffaloes are actually kind of fun to find. I have noticed over the last, I'm going to say 10 to 15 years, the Cherry Picker's Guide has expanded itself to include a lot of different years that have missing feathers, missing legs, missing leg portions, and some of them the double dyes. But I'm telling you, the three-legged buffalo is the one that has everybody's attention. That's a 1937D for those who don't study buffaloes at all. It's a 37D, and one of the legs was completely polished away in mint doings. I tell you that this right here is caused by deterioration of the dye due to dye wear. It's a ridge that pops up. It's actually a cavity in the dye that's created by the molecules of steel moving outward, but it appears as a ridge on the coin under the letters of In God We Trust. Nothing special. Coin number 31 now. Mr. Fletcher. A lot of these have got a number of wild scratches on them in different places. That is a very common thing for 1988. It's a very common thing for most of the 80s. The mint did not have very good quality control at that period of time, and their quality suffered greatly. Number 32 now. Miss Josie Fletcher. Nothing there. Oh, do we have our chips, cracks, and breaks? No. No, don't think so. No chips, cracks, and breaks, no double die. So we have what we know of as a normal 1988 Philadelphia Lincoln cent. Coin number 33 now. 33 goes to Chuck Patillo. Let's see what Chucky gets. Nothing there on the obverse. And checking the reverse. And little die crack running off the left base toward the rim there. Other than that, nothing. Nothing thus far for us, but we got a couple of interesting reverses because of die cracks and die chips, but that's all. Mr. Fletcher now on coin number 34. This one's a near proof-like. It's a very, very shiny coin. This coin number 34. No doubling on the obverse. Let's check the reverse real quick and see what we come up with, if anything. Yeah, it's a rather clean looking, doubling free reverse. Here's number 35. 35 goes to Cookie. A lot of die scratches on the obverse on this one. Probably there just to cover up a clash. Good day, Doug. I think this one's got the crack on the bottom of the T. Well, it probably does on a later manifestation. I see the crack running across from the C to the E and from the E to the N. No, I think this is the one that turns up having all the die issues on the CEN. It's just this one isn't as severe because it's an earlier strike. It can take a matter of a couple of hundred strikes for a die to fall apart. So transition therein can actually happen within a single bag. Nothing there. We are going to be opening a 1989D this afternoon. The 89D. It's your last year for RPMs. That's Taco John number 36. Now number 37 for Mickey. Not really showing any die varieties at all in this roll. Now number 38. This one we're going to go to Mr. Worley. Save us, Mr. Worley, save us. There's a little tiny bit of a struck through there on the 1. However, tiny. The die scratches running east and west on this one. I think we've seen this doubled, or this reverse before, not doubled. Now number 39, Richard. I kind of toyed around a little bit with the idea of looking for the 1919 double die obverse dime at shows, and I've not seen one. I've not really done a whole lot of looking. Most of the time when people have 1919 dimes, they're in quite utterly low condition. Generally, when it takes looking for a double die or something like that in dealer stock, I'll typically skip everything that's not at least extremely fine. You found nothing in the 71 roll. That's too bad. Well, I was hoping for sure. 1988 here. I went through a circulated roll of 71 about a year ago, and I found one of the DDO number 1s in there, but I only found one, and it wasn't in the best condition. I got some stuff that'll be coming up for auction this evening that should be pretty interesting. I ran into a collection, basically, of carded 2x2 older Lincoln Cents that get back into the 1909 to 1939 era. And I just, instead of looking through them for anything, I peeked at them, divided them, and put them in boxes to sell. Of course, I can't ship the boxes, but they'll be air sealed before they're put in your box for shipping, should you win them. Lot of 75 coins, valued at least an average of $1 per coin. It's a $75 box. We're starting them at, I believe, $30 or $35. 42, Bo Palmer. And Bo gets a free hair on his coin. I know some of you are very jealous, but the free hairs only come once in a while. Can't expect them all the time. If we got them all the time, they would have no value. Hey, looky there. There's one of the pretty ones. That's what I've been looking for. That's the second one in the roll that I've noticed. Let's go back to the front side and see if we can pull a marker off of this so that we can identify the next one. Due north and south die scratches off the top of the 9. A little bit of a clash at the throat there. Nothing else really pertinent on the obverse. So it's going to give us a little bit of an issue in trying to find it again using the obverse only. Here's one for Mickey. Let's see what Mickey gets this time. Oh. See, Mickey, the coins don't like it when you smart off. The coins don't like it. It just means you get nothing, right? You do get the one little die crack across the CE and the N. Yep. Nobody likes a smart aleck. Let's see, number 44. Back to Doug. And Doug gets one that has a lot of die scratch, which probably means not the pretty reverse. Yes, the items are up on the website for tonight. It's at coppercoins.com/auction. coppercoins.com/auction. You should see 30-something items available for the 18th of April, which is today. It's exactly true, Frostbite. So I learned my wit and my satire from my mother. She didn't teach it to me, but I learned it because I knew it bothered her. So anything that got under her skin was game for me. And I toss a point in the basket. I'm not taking you to the hair salon with me today. You're such a smart aleck. Okay, Mom. Have fun. Well, I think I wanted to go to the hair salon. That was not my gig. Oh, and she didn't go in for a haircut. She got her hair frosted. So, yeah, it was like an hour and a half. A kid with no electronics, no television, nothing to ease your mind. You know, we had no fidget widgets, we had no bubble poppers, we had none of that stuff. And somehow we survived an hour in a lady's hair salon. What is sodium sulfate? Sounds like some sort of sodium sulfate. Sulfur, sodium. It sounds like it stinks, whatever it is. Like, maybe some sort of fertilizer or something. Oh, colonoscopy. Oh, yeah. I don't know if I drank sodium sulfate, but whatever it was, it sure cleaned me out. Up to number 48 now. Almost finished with this roll. Ready to move on to the next one. Here we go. This one's for Richard. It looks like this is going to turn out to be kind of a dud roll. Which, okay. Who knew? Nobody could have expected it one way or the other. Spick and span, yeah. That's what they ought to call that stuff right on the outside of the bottle. Spick and span. Here's your spick and span Kool-Aid. Should have the little Hawaiian punch guy on there with green skin and yellow eyes. Number 49 goes back to Carl. We got number 49 now. Only one more coin in the roll after this one. And that's that with that. Unfortunately, not finding anything of real markable merit. have no need to go to a hair salon. They got cheaper ways of doing that. It's called a razor. And just cut it all off. I'm about ready to start working on my hair that way. I've decided that on-camera presence doesn't really have a whole lot of additive value for me. So, may as well sit behind the camera, let the coins be the subject, and I'm that much better for it. Alright folks, that's coin number 50. We are one and done. There was nothing to view in this roll of any true merit. So, we are going to skip forward now to the next roll. If you guys will exit out into the lobby and come back in, I'll be ready in about 5 minutes. We're going to be doing reveal number 523. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you just in a few minutes.